So, come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
How we doing, Bronco Nation? Happy Wednesday to you here at BroncoNationNews.com, Bronco Nation News Live. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on X, and we are brought to you by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. All your painting needs, make sure you hit up our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. My name is BJ Rains, and I know you don't recognize this guy. You may hear his voice. He's down some weight, he's down some hair, and Michael Callahan, nice enough to join us here on a Wednesday on Bronco Nation News Live. Mike Callahan, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Sorry for the jump scare. Shaved the mullet, shaved the beard. Lost about 30 pounds already. Trying to get another 20 off. So I know I look like an 18-year-old right now, but still the same me. So excited to be here.
If you work for BNN, you're not supposed to be in great shape or be good in front of the camera. So you're already below the. We'll have to work on that, but. No, we appreciate you for jumping on, and cool that we're going to get you involved as much as your schedule allows here with some of our spring football coverage the next month or so. Hopefully, maybe get you involved in the pre and post game shows come the season next year. Maybe a weekly thing as well. But I know we've talked and tried to make it work, and I thought this week we had basketball talk the last couple days with everything going on there, and then kind of a weird week with spring break this week, and then football kicking back up on Monday. I thought it was a good day to have you come on and talk some spring football. And like I said, though, looking forward to not only to today, but hopefully getting you involved as a, official analyst for BNN here for the football team moving forward, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to stay in touch and, stay on top of all things Boise State football, transitioning to now I'm, a full-time fan. At the same time, I have a pretty good wealth of experience. So I know how to analyze what's going on with the team and what's going on in the future. So definitely want to stay involved and stay connected to Bronco Nation.
All right, full-time fan, part-time analyst here as well. Mike Callahan, again, 2019, you came into the program 6 years thanks to the red shirt, thanks to the COVID year. So you're obviously very well connected with this program. I mean, you just played in the Fiesta Bowl, had a couple tackles a month or two ago. You've done a lot of great things in your career. So Riley Smith jumped on board last year, and that's been a lot of fun. He was able to get some former players on, and him and Coach Riddle had a nice little weekly show during the season. So we're hoping to do something similar with you and get you involved, and appreciate you for wanting to get involved, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this and continuing to get to know you. And I think this is going to be a fun thing for fans because you're obviously very well connected to this team from last year, but also obviously a lot of the same guys and things moving forward here. And even the recruits and things, you were part of their visits and everything else. So you're very well connected to the 2025 team here. And I think you still have a lot of insight and analysis so that fans are going to benefit from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll do my best to stay up to date and make sure that my brain's going good with what's going on with the football program going forward. And like you said, 6 years of experience in the program. I know the ins and outs of Boise State football, so I know what it's supposed to look like. So pretty excited to keep a close eye on the team and going forward.
Now you did your homework here. We'll get to that in a second. I gave you a task at 10:30 last night, and you did a very impressive job here in terms of the topics we're going to get to. But just update folks. I know last time you came on, you had a hip surgery on one of your hips, or what? And I know maybe just within the last couple of days you had another procedure here. Fill everybody in.
Yeah, so end of January, had my right hip done, had to get a bone spur and my labrum, my right hip fixed up. And then Monday, so 2 mornings ago, got my left hip fixed up. So done with surgeries for hopefully my 20s. Think I made it out of football relatively okay, but had to get the body straightened up for long-term future, make sure there's no problems down the road. But 2 days out, I'm already feeling way better, obviously. I'm able to get in front of a camera and be functioning. So
that's just an excuse if you say something maybe that you regret or something at some point.
Yeah, seriously. I stayed off of everything that I had to. So
we got Spencer Buchanan saying still in basketball mode. Good luck football. Yeah, basketball season's not over. We're going to talk a lot of basketball here moving forward. We'll have Mike Prater and ball game and Tuss and stuff. And they have this weird 2-week break though with no game for next week not even next week. So you had the San Diego State UNC game last night, but we got plenty of basketball to talk moving forward here, but we've kind of neglected football a little bit actually with the last week being in Vegas and stuff. So I just it's a 1-day reprieve here. If you're a diehard basketball fan, apologize. We're talking football today, but we'll be back tomorrow, Friday, all next week talking basketball. But I know a lot of you have been asking for more football talk anyway, so that's what we're going to do today. All right, Mike, I asked you for 5 topics and 5 players. I said, why don't we just, let's kind of have what they had 3 days of practice, kind of got their feet wet, took the week off for spring break. So then when they come back on Monday, it's kind of 4 weeks of solid spring football, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays here. And so anyone that was focused on the Mountain West tournament, last week or whatever, we're going to just kind of, for the next 4 weeks, what are 5 kind of topics you're looking at, fans should look at and pay attention to here the next month, as well as 5 players that, folks you're excited about and fans should be looking at, paying attention to moving forward here. And I know one of your topics, first one, the offense. We've talked a lot about it. Dirk Cutter moves on. Nate Potter comes in. What's the offense going to look like? I'm right there with you. I mean, are we going to see the same thing, running the ball every play, or are we going to see more trick plays, or what's Nate Potter going to bring to the table? The very first practice last Monday, they ran a double pass on one of the which I loved seeing. And I was standing next to Dirk Cutter on, watching it in the end zone when that happened. He's like, oh, there's old Nate, first day, bringing out the double pass. But I know that's a big topic for you now as an alum, but as a defensive player also. What's the offense going to look like with Coach Potter?
Yeah, like you said, bringing out the trick play first day of practice, that's awesome. I'm sure that the guys on the defensive side of the ball weren't too pumped up about that day one of spring ball, having a double pass thrown at you and having to adjust off of base install calls. But I'm pretty, I'm fired up. I've known Coach Potter for 4 years now. I know him a little bit coming out of high school. He recruited me at Montana State. He's an exceptional football mind, particularly just for, the way my brain works in the run game. Very creative. He knows good ways to scheme up every single front or linebacker alignment that you're going to find in college football. I'm excited to see how he uses the wealth of running backs that we have this year. We got a lot of depth at that position. So behind, arguably the most experienced and violent offensive line in the Mountain West. I think Coach Potter is going to have a lot of success with the run game. I'm also very excited to see Mad Dog take steps. I watched it this summer going into the season, Mad Dog taking that next step and becoming that big-time leader on this offense. I'm excited to see him embrace that role and come full circle this year as the captain of the offense and moving things forward with that. It's going to be really cool seeing Mad Dog getting the chance to really shine, show the country what he can do. Because, in my opinion, Mad Dog's right up there with every other quarterback in the country that's at the top of the list. So I think he's got all the potential in the world. He loves being counted out, and it's going to be really cool to see Mad Dog and Coach Potter get to work.
Yeah, and I think Zach Hill being back as well as the quarterbacks coach and kind of a dedicated quarterbacks coach is another kind of storyline in all this. But I know, fill folks in because, when they hear Nate Potter, they know he played offensive line, he's coached offensive line, he's coached tight ends, and that's kind of been, the O-line tight ends kind of been his specialty for most of his career here. And when you think offensive coordinator, you think quarterbacks, you think running backs, you think receivers. So I know I was one of them when I first heard it that was like, oh, okay, I'll be curious how this goes. But it sounds like you're saying just because he's only coached running backs he's only coached tight ends and offensive line during his career, that it's not going to be something where we expect to just run power every play.
No, don't think that we're getting, straight up gap schemes down the throat the entire game, especially with the people he has around him. You mentioned Coach Hill's back. That's a huge addition. Coach Hill is an outstanding quarterbacks coach. I still remember him from 2019. One of my best friends, Hank Bachmeyer, thinks the entire world of him. And I know that, having Coach Miller, he's the pass game guy. He's obviously an exceptional mind when it comes to the pass game. So I'm excited to see the combination of those three's experience and what they see in a week-to-week game plan mode. I'm just excited to see the creativity that comes in throughout the season. And like you said, I don't think that it's just going to be, running power every single play. There's going to be a lot of creativity on the field this year, and it's going to be really cool to see them establish their identity early because, like I mentioned, yeah, they do have a very experienced veteran O-line that I know those guys very well. They do want to run the ball every single play, but it's going to be really cool to see them, get to expand and really see what they can do with the offense this year.
Now we're one topic in, and Christine already says a great addition with Michael Callahan, well-spoken and great insight. Reminds me of a younger Jay Tuss. I'm not sure who that's, better for or more of a shot at, you or Jay, but
I'll take the Jay Tuss comparison. That's I think very highly to Jay, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, good friend of mine, and does some great work with us here at BNN. So yes, excited for that. All right, let's go to your side of the ball here, where you're obviously even more familiar. Production and the pass rush. Obviously losing Ahmed Hassanin is the big one, but some other guys there on the interior as well. And can the defense maintain the pressure they were able to generate last season? I know that's a big storyline for you as well.
Yeah, I think so, both from a former player perspective and as a fan perspective. From a former player perspective, I've had guys from, the 2019 team that have reached out to me and said that they were jealous that they didn't get to play in this defense this year, with Coach Chins, because Coach Chins he loves his pressure. He's in my opinion, he's the most elite mind that I've ever been around when it comes to pressure. He's a film junkie. He's consistently in there picking up new stunts and new coverages that we can, implement on a week-to-week basis and keep offensive lines and offensive coordinators on their toes. And I know it's a nightmare at least last year, it was a nightmare for offensive coordinators to prepare for us because you didn't know what we were going to throw at them each week. And I'm really excited to see them, continue what we started last year with our pressure. I think we had 55 or 56 sacks. I know that we should have broken the NCAA record. I fully believe that this year that they can do it. I think that they have the personnel. They've added some really exciting new transfers in there that, bring some size and length that we haven't seen up front very often at Boise State. So, which we'll touch on a little bit later, but I'm really excited just to see them, continue that mentality, that they're going to get after the quarterback. They're going to cause havoc. And I truly believe that these guys can absolutely maintain and exceed the pressure that we brought last year.
Now, I saw some guy going into the Fiesta Bowl. He was like a former Penn State player, and he was watching tape or something, kind of breaking down your guys' defense. And he said something to the effect of a lot of the sacks were just like coverage sacks and more, scheme sacks, more just than individual guys beating guys one-on-one or whatever. And you're laughing because maybe you saw that. I don't know. But I just, what do you make of, I guess, that narrative or that thought that the 55 sacks were just, schemed up and played up and not necessarily individual talent coming up with those?
I thought that all those comments were hilarious. I mean, sure, that guy can say what he wants to say. He's a former player, I guess you could say. But at the end of the day, you can't say that 55 sacks isn't 55 sacks, no matter how you get them. So, sure, you can take a shot and say that we're not going to get there with a 3-man or a 4-man rush, whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. We still sacked Drew Allard 4 times in that game against, the number 3 team in the country for the whole season. And earlier in the year, I think Oregon ended up giving up, 12 or 13 sacks the whole season. We had 5. So you can say what you want to say. We're going to get home. Well, not we're anymore because I'm done. But, I definitely know exactly what you're talking about. And that was a little bit of more, fuel to the fire going to that game. That's definitely something that we were talking about, as a front. Like, all right, like didn't need more motivation, but here we go.
All right. So you got what's the offense going to look like? Can they keep the pass rush going? 2 obviously kind of big storylines on both sides of the ball. Then you get into the position battles here because there are some key guys that left, some younger guys ready to step up. And I know you've got a couple positions that you're really looking at and curious to see kind of who steps up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start off with the running backs. Like I was saying earlier, there's a wealth of talent in the running back room. That's kind of become the standard at Boise State. You come to Boise State as a running back, good chance you're going to have a chance to play at the next level. I think that's no different with Sire Gaines. I know that everybody in the world revolving around Boise State football has heard about Sire Gaines, but this guy's the truth. This guy is everything is advertised and more. Getting a fully healthy Sire Gaines going for next season is going to do unbelievable things for us next year. But on top of that, we have other guys in the room, like Breezy Dubar. We have Dylan Riley. We have Malik Sherrod. I think Malik Sherrod brings a very interesting perspective to this running backs room. He's a little bit of a smaller guy, but he has a dirt dog mentality. I know that this guy is going to be a really great leader on this next team. I know that I played against him 2 years ago in Fresno when we had our lows, and that dude balled out. He took that game over. So I'm excited that he's on our team this time around coming into the season. And I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. I'm excited to see, like I said, fully healthy Breezy Dubar and motivated Breezy Dubar. I think that he's going to be able to come back and have a great season this year. And then Dylan Riley's another kid that I think the world of Dylan Riley. The kind of speed that he's got, if he gets a hole, he's gone. He's got breakaway speed just like that. Having a full offseason under his belt, not just coming in, late in the summer. Coming in with the entire offseason to put on weight, put on muscle, and also get to know the offensive playbook a lot more. I just think that, they have a great situation on their hands where they have a ton of talent in the backfield. And I think that's actually a great point. You could see a lot more, Q21 personnel, which Q21 means there's 2 running backs in the sorry, I don't want to get too technical football.
No, we need you to.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means. You're good. You're good.
I think we could absolutely see Q21, Q22. I think that, you have the talent. You got to get the best 11 guys on the field. And I think in a lot of the situations, I think that we could see two running backs in the backfield, whoever that combination may be. But, all those guys deserve and will get touches. Like I said, Sire Gaines is the truth, and he's going to show that to the country this year. But just as a full team perspective, I think that running back room is really interesting.
All right, a couple defensive positions as well you're looking at.
Yeah, here we go. So with the secondary, one position switch that I'm really excited to see is Devon Banks moving nickel. Devon Banks is a very explosive, talented athlete. I think on his pick 6 against San Jose State, he hit 23.5 miles an hour on the GPS, which is pretty. Is the second fastest speed of the season. I'm pretty sure, right behind Shea Oladipo's, chase down tackle in the Mountain West Championship game where he almost hit 24 miles an hour chasing somebody down. But seeing guys in that kind of a role, coming in and filling in for that Shea Oladipo, Rodney Robinson type player last year at the nickel position, I think I'm really excited to see that. Really excited to see Ty Benefield take another huge step I truly believe that he could be in for a JL Skinner type of year 3. That dude just comes in and busts his tail each day. He's really stepped up as a very big leader. I just think that he's going to be, I think Ty Benefield, I think the world of Ty Benefield. I think he's going to be a great player. Very excited to see the rest of the secondary compete. Obviously getting a Marion McCoy, big return. Obviously going to have him with, 2 years of experience in the system coming into year 3. I think that his last year is easily going to be his best. Really excited to see him on a week-to-week basis. Love Jeremiah Irby. I think he got better, as the season got on last year, and love the guy plays. I love the way he plays football, and I think the secondary is going to be in a great place next year.
And of course, you saved the most important position on the team for last year.
Yeah, I got to talk about the D tackles, dude. I mean, I had to get in there. I'm so fired up for the defensive tackles. They have. I think you have Coach Chenander, you have Coach Frazier, and in my opinion, biggest addition of the offseason, Coach Miley coming back. Everybody that I played with while he was the defensive line coach here, once he got announced that he came back, I probably had 4 or 5 phone calls right away saying, "Oh my God, we got him." So having those 3 coaches around that defensive tackle group, I think the sky's the limit for that group. Obviously Braxton Feely. Braxton has talents that you can't coach. He's probably the most elusive interior pass rusher that I've been around in my 6 years of playing at Boise State. I think that what he does in the pass rush game is phenomenal and adds another layer to his game. I think that adding, Deion Washington, I think that he definitely brings 3. I think he has 3 or 4 years of in-conference experience. But at the end of the day, with an upfront position like that, having experience is everything. And he's been in this conference and he knows this conference, and he's going to add some great experience to our D-line room. And I know he's an explosive player. I know we have David Lazu coming in from BYU and Snow College. I know that he's, Sanatani Louis' cousin, brother. I'm not.
Yeah, I've seen Sanatani at practice already a few times.
Yeah. I was talking to Sanatani, dude. He's fired up. I'm fired up for him. I think he's in a great position to be here, getting to work alongside those coaches. I think that he could be a great addition. I think the world of Lopez Sanusi. I think that throughout the season last year, getting a chance to be behind us 4. Get a chance to learn from us is going to do wonders for him this year. I know that he's attacking it this offseason. And I think that Lopez will definitely step into a much bigger role this year. Michael Madre, kind of a similar situation with Braxton Feely. Michael Madre in the pass rush game, I think that he can make a huge impact. I think that he just does things that, just naturally, physically, genetically gifted. I think that he can definitely do some things that other guys can't. And I know that they brought in Keanu from University of Arizona too. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
3 topics down, 2 to go. We got some players to watch as well here on Bronco Nation News Live with Michael Callahan, our new BNN spring football analyst here on Bronco Nation News Live. But you're watching this show free of charge here on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Thanks to some of our great sponsors. So we want to make sure and give them a shout out here on BNN. And that includes our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. All your painting needs, hit up Andy Rowe and rowpaint.com, whether it's those concrete coatings, whether it's the interior, exterior painting, all your painting needs. Make sure you hit up the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and that's rowpaint.com. TacoBellWorks.com is the website for SO and management, the Nicolason family, the locally owned Taco Bell locations. If you're looking for a job, they are hiring, and they've got some great benefits right now. You get free foods while you work. You get half your wages, up to half your wages, the next day after your shifts. You don't have to wait 3 weeks for a paycheck. And some great promotional opportunities and benefits as well. And, oh, yeah, the food's pretty darn good as well. Those Lux Cravings boxes, the Cantina Bowls, the cheesy roll-ups, the slushies. Highly recommend Taco Bell. And, again, if you are looking for a job, check them out at TacoBellWorks.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, the Raines family made the switch, and we couldn't be happier that we switched on over a couple years ago to ICCU, the best, easiest mobile e-branch online banking you're going to find. ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner. You can go in short time. You're signed up and you're ready to go. And they have all these branches, but I never need to go to them because I can do it all right there from my phone or my computer. So check them out online at ICCU.com. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, thespateam.com, located in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa, 4 locations. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. You can check them out online at thespateam.com, whether it's a spa, whether it's a sauna, whether it's a pool table for the game room, they got you covered at Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game. And our friends at Jackson's, they're no longer doing this $2 hot dog and fountain drink deal. I'll get a new graphic here for them, but 99-cent coffee, 99-cent coffee at Jackson's anytime, day or night, using your Let's Go Rewards app. And they've got some NIL deals with some basketball players, some football players. They got those trading cards coming back in the fall here. So make sure you hit up Jackson's, our post-game show sponsor, and they'll be sponsoring the post-game show when we get back to Vegas here in a couple weeks for the Crown Tournament. But use that Let's Go Rewards app. They got a lot of great deals and specials in there, and that includes that 99-cent coffee anytime, day or night, from our friends at Jackson's. All right, 2 more storylines you want to get to here with Mike Callahan on Bronco Nation News Live. And I know you have an emphasis. You're looking at both sides of the ball here, offense, defense, and some areas of improvement, some things you want to see. Let's start on defense. I know there's two obvious things, one big one for fans, but a second one too that you're really focused on in the spring here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, for defense, the defensive side of the ball, I think the number one thing that we got to focus on, they got to focus on is,
I was going to say, man, you're an alum. I'll let it slide. But now that you're in the media, we got to get a little bit away from the we here as much. Come on.
Yeah, right. So I think, big thing they got to focus on is tackling. That was definitely a thing all season that, here and there, I truly believe that there is such a thing as, a good missed tackle, taking a shot, setting them up or forcing them back inside your leverage, making guys pursue the ball and finish up on their tackling. But I think tackling is going to be the biggest emphasis for these guys in the spring. Just got to get back to the fundamentals, got to make sure that we're wrapping, make sure that we're not just, laying the pads, making sure that we get the guy on the ground. I think that's definitely something that needs to take a big step and that will in this upcoming season. Other obvious spot is eliminating explosive plays. That was really our biggest thing last year, just getting hit on explosives. It's a big goal every week, year in, year out. You want to make sure that you eliminate and limit explosive plays from the offense. That starts with eye control and communication at the end of the day. And I think that, as these guys, at the end of the day, this is going to be another very experienced defense. They're not losing too much, and they have a lot of very experienced, great veteran players that are going to take big steps this year. And I think that that's going to play a big role in helping us eliminate explosive plays down the stretch of the season.
I know you don't want to hear the numbers. You probably know the numbers, but Boise State last year on defense, 127th in the country, and there were only 134 teams last year. So, literally one of the worst 6 in the country. You guys gave up 37 plays of at least 30 yards last year. You can break it down by 10-yard, 20-yard, 30, 40, 50. I mean, that was for as good as that defense was and for how few games you guys lost. It was crazy how every game there'd be 1, 2, 3 just breakdowns or massively big plays. I mean, I know it's in football, it's just one guy maybe, right, missing the wrong gap or missing his assignment or taking his eye off the ball for 1 second. I know that the secondary, it seemed like a lot of the 50-50 balls the opponent would usually come up with. But I mean, what did you guys kind of see, late in the season, or what was the biggest reason for that? And how do you change something like that when you're giving up all those explosive plays?
Yeah. And, like you said, with all the games that we won, there were games that we'd come back, we'd get back in and we'd be like, all right, we got to work on this. We got to fix this. Because we might have won this game, but at the end of the day, later in the year, we're going to get hit on this. So I think we did a good job on a week-to-week basis of coming in and identifying and being clear with ourselves, like what was going on and what was causing this. I think having a full off season under their belt of getting a chance to really focus in, just on a player-to-player standpoint and getting a chance to, see what happened last year and what can they fix going forward in the next season. I think that's going to help. And I think at the end of the day, like I said, explosive plays come from eye control and communication. So just guys being really intentional in the small things, because I think, as the season drags on, it becomes a little bit tougher to be as focused on those kind of things as it is in, the off season. It's all talk right now. But I think, having a full off season of being completely dialed in on eliminating those explosives is going to make a big difference coming up in this next season.
All right, we're going to put you to the test here because we do have a semi-negative comment here. So we're going to see how you can answer this question here. But he says, can you put one thing to rest about the disconnect from the fans and DeMario Warren? Was it a scheme decision or player decision to not turn and play the ball from the corners? I know that was one thing. I mentioned the 50-50 balls, Mike, but I know there's so much more that fans don't know about, and all this stuff. But a lot of times it would just look like the corners were giving up big plays, and a lot of times maybe weren't even turning towards the ball when there were plays being made. What did you see from the corners, DeMario Warren? What do the corners think about DeMario Warren? And I know he's the one guy fans always want to rip on when there's a big play, but obviously there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, and I love Coach Warren. He's an outstanding coach, and at the end of the day, those plays are bang bang plays. It's a lot easier to sit on the couch. And I know I've experienced it my whole life. I was a diehard Pats fan before I came to Boise State, so I mean I get how the fans feel, but at the end of the day, watching it and being in it is completely two different things. Bang bang plays like that happen. Obviously, I think the world of that corner room. I think as the year went on, they got so much better, taking it day by day, step by step. And I really think that at the end of the day, bang bang plays are going to happen. But I think them playing fast and them playing confident is going to make a big difference coming up in this next season.
All right, offensively, what's your emphasis or the big thing you're looking at offensively here in the next 4 weeks of spring and moving forward?
Yeah, I kind of have an obvious answer with that, just being an upfront guy. But I think the biggest thing from them is just maintaining and progressing that run game, especially, continuing to get to the second level up front, just making sure that they give these running backs all the space that they need. Because we've been talking about it, they have a wealth of experience and talent in that running back room, and all they need is a little bit of room and they can get loose. So I think the most important thing is going to be maintaining and progressing that dominant run game to open up the passing game for Mad Dog.
I totally agree with you on that one. I'm curious to see, like I said, I'm hoping there's a little more downfield passing attack this year. I mean, you need to see what the receivers can do too, because you lost a couple good ones there. So I mean, in terms of the downfield, from the receivers too. But there's certainly a lot of talent in the running back room. I think the receiving talent, the receiver room is there as well. Backup quarterbacks, one for me that we haven't really talked about, just too, because you're talking about just battles and things. I mean, you're one injury away or one play away to Mad Dog right now from some not having much experience or depth at all at quarterback. Yeah. And I know it's tough when you have a guy, was a starter and led his team to the Fiesta Bowl, returning as the starter next year. Probably hard in the transfer portal to get anybody that's, frankly, any good, because they know they don't want to sit behind him. So that's one spot I'm looking at too, is can they develop some depth at backup quarterback? Do they still need to go in this spring portal season and try to find somebody there, or what's that looking at? But certainly if Mad Dog can stay healthy, I know he's got his detractors out there too, but I think most people feel pretty good about, what he can do with this offense moving forward here. The biggest, I guess the final kind of just big picture storyline around this spring, around this team, is putting that Fiesta Bowl appearance, behind them, right? I mean, the rings, I don't know if the rings are in yet, the Mountain West Championship. I mean, it was obviously a historic season, a great season, but you don't get to carry any of that over to this season. And obviously they're going to Notre Dame this season. They've got some other tough games on there. It was a great, successful, historic season, making the playoff, but in the end, they got the same record right now as everybody else again here moving forward. So I know that's a big thing for you and for those guys in the room as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that coming off of a season like that, a lot of other places in the country, I think that teams would tend to take a step back. And I know that the way that those guys are working and the mindset that they have, and like we were just talking about, they are returning a ton of guys, a ton of production at every position on both sides of the ball. I think that, with the schedule that's coming up, we have the team to be even better than we were last year, which is crazy to say, missing, Ashton Genty, but, coming in, they just have so much returning talent, returning experience, returning production that I think the world of this upcoming team. And, like I was saying, it can be tough to turn the page on, a season that just ended 2 months ago and have to be like, all right, we got to get ready for this next season. So it's really important for the leaders to step up and keep those guys, focused in, that last year was last year. This team hasn't proven anything yet. And it's going to be up to them to establish what they want this team to look like and what they want the 2025 Boise State Broncos to look like. So I think that's definitely a spot that other teams in the country would have a hard time with, but that's what separates Boise State football from other college football programs around the country, is that last year's last year. That's put to rest. That's gone. This is a new season, and it's time to focus in.
And I know Spencer a little bit, obviously not as well as you guys that are with them every single day, but he doesn't seem like the kind of coach that's going to sit back. And I don't think that's going to be a problem for him to motivate you guys about a new year here.
Not even kind of. I can literally hear what those discussions are probably sounding like in the team room right now. He's probably echoing a lot of the things that I was just saying.
Kip says, tell Braxton Feely to keep the sack celebration. Other guys did it throughout the season. Love it.
That was my favorite, man. Freaking the Samoan S, dude. Anytime you get a TFL or a sack while I was next to him, I made sure that I tried to throw it up because I knew it was coming from him. That's definitely my favorite celebration on the team. I don't even know. I think he started doing it against Georgia Southern. He just pulled it out, and it became a big hit on the team. Because he does so quick that it's always popping up on film. So you can still see it at the end of the play in our actual film. So that always fired the guys up. And I'm telling you, I'm right there with you with that celebration.
Having some fun here with Michael Callahan on Bronco Nation News Live. It's a Wednesday edition. And again, our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. If you have a question, a comment for Mike, you can put that in the chat there. We got about 10, 15 minutes left. We'll get to that here in a little bit. We do have, we're 5 topics down, and Mike has come up with 5 players. We've touched on a couple of them, but we'll dive back into them. 5 kind of players that he's excited to watch, that you guys should be excited to watch this spring and maybe take that next step. So if you have a player you're excited about, or maybe an under-the-radar guy, throw that in the chat. Maybe we can get Mike's comments on that. But I do want to thank a couple more sponsors real quick. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Check them out at the Boise Town Square Mall, the second floor there next to Pro Image. They got that clearance rack in the front of the store. We appreciate Travis Hawks and company. The Blue and Orange Store, been around since the first Fiesta Bowl. You know where to go when you need your Boise State gear. You can order online anywhere in the world at theblueandorangestore.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, Jim Sturk and company. We appreciate him. And Mike, we got to get you out this year to the BNN golf tournament. Jim Sturk sponsors a little hole-in-one competition, so maybe we can get you a new vehicle here if you can put one on hole 6 out at Timberstone into the cup on the tee shot. So Lithia Ford of Boise, lithiafordboise.com, and they got some great deals right now. They got to get rid of some 2024 models to make room for 2025, so you can view their full inventory online at lithiafordboise.com. Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. BauscherRealEstate.com. Best in the business. And when you buy or sell a home using Matt and his team, you get to meet everybody in the picture there. The customer service is unmatched every step of the way. We bought and sold our home over the summer with Matt. Helped us get tremendous value. We're in a way nicer home than, I fool people. You see my home and you think I have some money. I don't. And Matt Bauscher is the reason, just the deal he got us. And every step of the way, we're just super appreciative of Matt and his team. And I know everybody has 5 friends that are realtors out there, but I highly recommend going with Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate. You can get more information online at BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Locations across the Treasure Valley, the Magic Valley, the state of Idaho. Download their Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Transportation compliance service. You want to get into the trucking industry, they can help you out with all the paperwork and things you need to get out there and tow in that first load in no time. Looking for a new career? Consider the trucking industry, and that's with Transcomp Service. Lean Feast Meridian. I'm sure Michael Callahan's had a few Lean Feast meals over the days. Leanfeastmeridian.com. They feed the football team weekly. They feed the basketball team. And we appreciate Dave and company at Lean Feast. Leanfeastmeridian.com. And it's 10,000 plus healthy combinations. They deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. You just pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes and you're eating steak, shrimp, chicken, fish. Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com. We want your voicemails as well. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox. Speakpipe.com/BNN. We'll play it on an upcoming show. I just sent a gift card yesterday to somebody who had a good voicemail. Wanted to appreciate them for leaving that. So speakpipe.com/BNN. And again, Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 2 decades, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection. More information online at mysignatureroofing.com. All right, 5 players to watch. I know you have a nice list here. We're gonna do a 25 kind of players countdown over the summer, where we kind of really dive into some folks on this roster. But you've kind of identified 5 to you that you're focused on, and I wasn't surprised to see the first 2 on the list up front. But let's go Cage Casey. Tell us about Cage, because he's a guy that had some big time offers, could have gone to the NFL, could have cashed in big time at some other schools in the NIL game, but stuck it out here and has a chance just to be an all-time, add his name to that list in terms of the legendary, tackles here at Boise State.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Cage Casey is a very talked about guy, which, is already unique being an offensive lineman. You don't really get a ton of exposure, and Cage Casey's getting it, and it's for good reason. This guy is probably the most technically sound offensive lineman that I've been around at Boise State. I think he's right up there in terms of talent with Ezra Cleveland, who is currently still playing in the NFL to this day. He's been there for 6 years. And I think that Cage Casey is another potential 10-year NFL offensive tackle, guard, whatever he projects as in the NFL. But, this guy is coming off a second-team All-American season at, left tackle, which means that he was, one of the top 4 tackles in the country last season as a redshirt sophomore. So seeing this guy and, being around him for his first 3 years at Boise State, you knew day one when he came in that he was going to be a different dude, just off of the frame and natural talent that he had coming in. But combine it with his work ethic and what he's actually trying to do and the things that he's trying to work on to get better at, just from he's really focusing on the small things that are going to turn him into, in my opinion, could be the best offensive lineman in the country next year. So I'm really excited that Cage Casey obviously took one more year at Boise State. Like you said, could have gone to the NFL, probably had to turn down some pretty big offers in the transfer portal. Being around him, he doesn't really, that was never really a big concern with me with him. He's been driving a minivan the whole time. I don't think he's going to stop doing that, other than the Lithia deal. But I think that he definitely is someone that, might be a little under the radar, just because he plays offensive line. But, at the end of the day, that kind of talent isn't going to go unseen. And I'm sure that throughout the season, you won't hear about Cage Casey on the left side as much, just because he's going to be so locked down in the pass game. But I'm sure there'll be some clips that come out of him, absolutely dominating and taking over a front in the middle of the game. So Cage Casey, in my opinion, is my number one player that you got to keep an eye on going into the spring, going into the season, because he's just an unbelievable talent, and we're pretty freaking lucky to have him at Boise State.
No doubt. I think his durability, too. I can't remember him missing a game in the last couple of years either. So his durability has been right there. All right. Unless you want to make this show 2 hours, you can speed up the next 4 a little bit if you want to. It's
Absolutely.
On you. I got all the time you do, but I don't want to keep you too long. But we do have 4 more I want to get to here. Jaden Virgin Morgan, I know, is a big one as well. Had a big breakout season, 40 tackles, 10 sacks, forced fumble, a fumble recovery, was a first-team All-Mountain West player, was a big part of that, defense that had the 55 sacks, as you said. But now, with no attention on the other side with Ahmed, he's going to be the guy that everyone's kind of really focused on. What do you make of Jaden Virgin Morgan? Because he's obviously the clear top pass rusher, up front this year.
Yeah, and that kind of ties in with Cage. I think having Jaden work with Cage and them working together and competing throughout spring and throughout fall camp is only going to make them both so much better. And Jaden Virgin Morgan obviously exploded onto the scene this season. He showed that he was probably the most explosive player in the front, right there alongside Ahmed, just in terms of his natural talents. I think as this offseason goes and he continues to add more skill to his pass rush repertoire and add more moves, I think that this year is going to be an unbelievable season for Jaden Virgin Morgan. I think that both him and Cage Casey will be the 2 top front guys in the Mountain West Conference for good reason. Obviously, they get to work against each other each day. So I'm going to make them both so much better. And I'm excited to see Jaden ball out this year.
And I know, like I said, he was definitely another guy that probably had some big opportunities in the transfer portal as well, and decided to stick around. So those are 2 big guys to anchor the lines, like you said, right there. All right, let's go back to running back. I know you mentioned Dylan Riley earlier. We had a chance to interview his dad on, I think it might have been the pregame show for the Mountain West Championship. He was just walking by and jumped on with me and Riddle and Bedell, and instantly became a fan favorite. I mean, it's a side story, but his dad was awesome. So, but Dylan Riley was, did some things in the return game, obviously running back as well last year. Averaged, I think led the team with 237 kickoff return yards. I know that there's a lot of excitement about all these running backs, and he's kind of the, I don't want to say forgotten one, but being the freshman was kind of third, in terms when you think of Breezy and Sire coming back. But I know that I think he was second team All Mountain West from Phil Steele, maybe in terms of the kick return and what he did there. But I know whether it's in the return game and also getting involved at running back, you're excited about Dylan Riley.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a guy that I really want to single out. Like I was talking about a little bit earlier on the show, having a full offseason under his belt to get the offensive system in, I think is going to make all the difference in the world for Dylan. Like we were saying, he's got that breakaway speed. You saw that on his kickoff return touchdown this year. He's going to be a very explosive threat in the kick return game, whether that's just kickoff returns or if he switched to punt return or two. Not sure what the plan is with him, but I know that he's just a dude that has to be on the field. At the end of the day, that kind of speed and that kind of talent is going to do wonders for this team. And I'm really excited to see Dylan Riley take a big step this season.
All right, Devon Banks, another one you have on your list. A defensive back, came over obviously, and as a transfer, and had a nice year. I mean, comes over from Washington. Made one start. You mentioned the interception return touchdown. A couple tackles, pass breakup in the Fiesta Bowl. But as I said, the for better or for worse, the secondary is. And the corners in particular was one that, it's easy for fans to single out when a big play is given up. Maybe the pass rush didn't get there in time and it hangs the guy out to dry or something, but it's usually the DB that's sometimes, left out. But it sounds like they're going to try him at nickel this year because you have Irby coming back and now you have McCoy. So McCoy, the unexpected return, they're going to try to get Banks over to nickel. Right now he's the starting nickel, according to the, what Spencer Danielson said. But what intrigues you about Banks maybe playing nickel and getting Irby and Banks and McCoy all on the field at the same time?
I'm super excited about that, particularly because it's the success that Shea and Rodney had switching over to nickel this last season. I think getting an athletic body like that, an explosive player, I think getting in those positions where he's in the box, he's able to do a lot of, unique and different things at that nickel position that you wouldn't otherwise at the corner position, having to be focused on being on that island. I think Banks could have a really explosive breakout year at nickel. I think that, that's just a position that screams Devon Banks. So I'm excited to see him develop over the spring and in fall camp and have it translate over to the season. I think he's going to have a big year this year.
All right, Ty Benefield's your fifth player on the list, and he was a guy that after the Fiesta Bowl, I'm interviewing him there in this little media room, and he's got tears running down his eyes talking about, seeing a guy on the other side of the room and Alex Tubner that he's not going to get a chance to play with and some of these other guys. And Ty Benefield was another guy that, in the moment, interviewed him there after the Fiesta Bowl. You're wondering, is he going to be back next year on this roster? I mean, he's another guy that had a heck of a year and probably got some serious interest in the transfer portal. And, he decides to come back and be one of the leaders of this defense back there at the safety position. And he's a guy that's moved around at times too, but I know Ty Benefield being back has a chance to be a star on this defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was saying, being around JL for as many years as I was and, just getting to know the guy that JL is, I think that Ty Benefield's right on that track. I think his care factor, like you were saying at the Fiesta Bowl, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was a tough ending for a lot of guys on the team, but, him in particular, not getting a chance to play with Tubner anymore, that just shows his care factor. He's a Bronco through and through. And like you said, maybe had to turn down some stuff to stay here, but made the right decision at the end of the day. And I truly believe that the way that guy works and the way that he's been developing each year in his first 2 years, I think that this year he's going to take that next step and he's going to be that NFL type talent in the back end.
Well, Logan says, I love it. Take your time, Mike. Vlad says, have work to do, but can't stop listening to this stuff. Fans like me love this stuff and appreciate it. So if Vlad gets fired here, we're blaming Mike.
Sorry, Vlad. That's my fault. I do
Mike,
see another comment.
What did you make of the way the schedule works this year? They're doing the 3 practices, then they take the week off, and then now they come back for the next 12 practices. Just usually it's kind of half the practices, week off, half the practices, but to only get 3 in and then take the break and then come back with Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. No back-to-back practices either during spring. That's a change. They want to spread it out a little bit so you can have actual more review and film study and things from the previous practice. But what do you make of the way the schedule is kind of set this year?
I love it. I think, talking about going 3 practices right into spring break, that I think it's good to get the feet wet, for sure, and then come back, make sure that the guys are smart over break and make sure that they're ready to work. I'm also a big fan of the no back-to-back practices thing in spring ball. I think the most important part about spring ball is getting being able to sharpen the iron against, going best on best. I think the spring ball is the most fun time of the year in terms of that. Fall camp kind of gets, depends on the day and, depends on how healthy everybody is. But in spring ball, you get the guys that are healthy out there competing, and it's just really fun to, see the excitement that, it truly is offense versus defense. There's a huge freaking rivalry during spring ball. That's when you find out who really wants to compete. So I used to enjoy having, a day off during spring ball to get your body back and make sure that you get everything in meetings and film and see what went right and went wrong the day before and seeing what you guys can grow on going into the next game.
Oh, you're enjoying all of spring ball right now because you're not there for the 6 a.m. workouts and the
exactly, yeah.
You're not having to go in the cold club after practice. I mean, you're probably I'm sure. I know you miss it, and being out there as a player is you certainly deal with that. But I'm sure, especially as you get into fall camp and things, when you're cracking open that second beer and they're heading back to practice or whatever, I'm sure you're going to be. There's a little different feeling.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been excited for an August in my life up to this point. Get a chance to actually enjoy the last month of summer instead of just falling off the face of the earth for a month straight. Because that work is, you wake up at 5:30 in the morning, you're not getting home until about 10:30 at night. So don't miss that. Not going to miss that. I'm doing great, being done. The first couple of weeks were a little weird for me, but once I got used to it, I was like, all right, this is real life. I'm good.
Speaking of health, one thing I noticed being out at practice last week is they're pretty healthy, all things considered. Some of these springs you have, 30 guys over there in boots and everybody having surgeries and all that. But I think they ended up having only one starter that wasn't available for the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, almost everybody was back, and it didn't seem like a ton of guys had to have, any kind of – there was a couple that had to have some cleanup type surgeries, and I know they are kind of easing back Sire and also Luttrell and a couple guys, but – there was as many guys out there especially up front sometimes you get out there on the O-line and all 5 starters are out in spring. I mean, I was to see, Mason out there and to see Cage and to see Roger and some of these guys. I thought that's going to be an added benefit that not a lot of people are talking about, that so many of these guys are going to get, some big reps in spring.
Absolutely. I think it's a credit to the athletic training staff. I think the world of Garrett Hall and, I don't know if I said his last name right. I probably didn't. But I think the training staff is unbelievable. And, obviously we had to deal with some injuries during season, but getting guys back later in season means that they would be available for the whole spring. So, there's 2 sides of that coin. I think getting the entire spring and the entire offseason with a lot of these guys being healthy is going to make a huge difference. Even in the older guys, even when you're nitpicking and just getting small things over the course of, the 9-month winter to season phase. I think that it's going to be really big for those guys to actually be on the field and continue to stay in football shape, throughout the offseason. I think it's definitely going to make a big difference, but that's a good point. I didn't really think about that. We definitely have a lot. This is probably the healthiest spring that I've seen.
A couple final comments here, a couple questions for you. Let's see. Bronco 130 says, thanks for all your Bronco energy. Emma Hoskins wants to know your favorite college team growing up.
Weird one. University of Florida. Grandparents lived down there. They were diehard Gator fans. I think for a little bit they might have been boosters. Don't know the full story with that. I didn't find out about that until the Fiesta Bowl. But big Florida fan growing up, so a big Tim Tebow guy. All right.
That's a good one. Let's see. Any feedback on Bull? Have you heard much about him yet?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He has some serious talent from what I've heard from some of the guys. I think he's still probably young and raw, but I think that kid could be lights out down the road. I think he might, who knows, maybe he'll contribute this year. I haven't seen anything, but I know that I've heard good things so far.
A guy you did see last year, Grant wants to know your thoughts on Franklin Johnson Jr.
I love Frank. I love that Frank got brought up, dude. He's a favorite in the locker room for sure. Just a great kid to be around. He's been one of Dimitri and I's favorites since the day he got on campus. We took him under our wing, and we freaking love that kid. Super athletic. Definitely think he's going to see the field this year. Definitely think that he can make an impact on this defense. And at the end of the day, just a great kid.
Well, Mike, great stuff, man. Appreciate you for jumping on, and I'm hoping we want you. You're have a nice degree from the business school, and you got some big things ahead of you. Do you have multiple degrees?
Yeah, I graduated with 2 undergraduate degrees, and I'm finishing up my MBA right now. I'm in something called the capstone course right now, which is not fun, but got 6 more weeks of that, and I get it.
You can't work for BNN. You're way overqualified now to BNN. So now that I know that, sorry.
For the time being, and love being involved.
Well, anyway, you are pursuing some actual jobs in the professional field, but we're hoping we can take advantage of your time till then, and then even mix it in a little bit, hopefully, with that, in terms of outside of your business hours and things. I'm especially intrigued once we get into the actual football season, whether it be pre-game shows or post-game shows or whatever else. I know you're going to want to be in the stands having fun with your friends, but maybe we can pull you over for 20 minutes after the game or something. We'll talk, but really appreciate you jumping on, man. Like I said, we're going to try to get you on maybe a couple times a week during spring ball and just take, even if it's for 15, 20 minutes, and just let fans ask questions and pick your brain and kind of see if you make it out to practice, kind of what you're seeing it all and your thoughts. And obviously, like I said, you have the unique perspective where you're just so close to being done that you've played and been in meeting rooms and practice with so many of these guys that you still have a unique perspective here to provide to Bronco Nation. So awesome stuff, man, and really appreciate it, and appreciate you wanting to be involved here moving forward, man. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to being around a little bit more.
Now, Blue Turf does say here you need to get in with Brad Bedell. I think that would be an interesting you and Brad Bedell together. I don't know. We don't have very many rules on a podcast, but there may be some FCC things we'd have to check in on with Brad and you together. But I know you know Brad a little bit because his time crossed over when you first got here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Bedell was here for my first 2 years, and Coach Bedell put me through the grinder. But love Coach Bedell. I was just with him the other week, so absolutely, I think Coach Bedell and I would rattle off each other pretty well. He probably takes some shots at me, but that's fine.
Yes. He's Mike Callahan. My name is BJ Rains. Appreciate you guys for checking us out. Again, we'll get back to the basketball talk. You got some more games tonight. You got the whole do you got a bracket filled out? You're legally allowed to do that probably now. You can enter your $5 bracket pool if you want.
Yeah, I actually have to do that probably right after this. Like I said, I had hip surgery Monday, so today's the first day that I'm kind of back on my feet, and I know my buddies back home have been banging on my door to get back involved in that kind of stuff. So,
hey man, there's a whole new world. Once you're done playing, there's a whole new world of things you can now partake in and take advantage of that you've been missing the last 6 years. And
pretty excited to dive into that.
March Madness pool is probably first on the list there. So appreciate it, sir. Great stuff. Thanks to all you guys for checking out the show. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Speaking of bracket pools, we do have an article on BNN right now. Nathan Carroll, cheat sheet on how to win your bracket pool. So you can go check that out, Michael, and then get some tips and things if you need it on your bracket. That's at BroncoNationNews.com. And then we'll be back 9 a.m. tomorrow. We'll have some football talk, some basketball. Tomorrow and Friday are the greatest days of the year where you have, the tournament games from 10 a.m., especially Mountain Time Zone. You got games starting at 10 a.m. all the way till midnight tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll kick off your day 9 a.m. tomorrow on Bronco Nation News Live. We'll have Jay Tuss back on Friday as well. So have a great rest of your day. Appreciate all you guys for checking us out. Go subscribe if you can, BroncoNationNews.com. BNN50 deal is that promo code, and after how good Michael did today, I think he's going to be a tough negotiator on this contract. So let's get a few more subscribers in here. Let's be able to pay Mike and make this happen here moving forward. And at worst, just go support the sponsors, folks, and thank them for supporting BNN and making shows like this free of charge for you to watch on social media. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m., Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.